State of the Union. Trump talks accomplishments, new policies, heroics in sports, and on the battlefield. And per usual, sparring with obstinate Democrats. And there was a few of them. There was a few, of course, Congresswoman Tlaib, who's just an embarrassment. I don't know what Michigan is thinking. She basically represents the Palestinian people. There's nothing in America that she likes. She's got a filthy mouth. And we know that because, remember, she said in blank impeach the president. We saw that. And then we saw different areas of the country when the president says in different areas of the speech, you hear her and the president going back and forth. Here he is, the president of the United States, talking about different things with illegal immigrants. And here he is talking about different things he accomplished, as well as different things with the Congresswoman. Here's, by the way, the message of the speech. It was very positive. It was very uplifting. But, and here's how it ended. Cut 8.
And these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
And the Republicans roared, and the Democrats ho-hummed, and some of them booed. Lucas Tomlinson's now in studio. Lucas, could you stand down last night, or did you have to watch? Did you have to report?
I was on Capitol Hill until the speech, went home, watched it. By the way, I love the sun-kissed shores of Florida. Is that an Orange reference, I believe, right there?
I believe so.
That was pretty awesome.
It's probably some branding. I'm sure the president
love that.
Got paid.
Love that. No, watched the speech from home and was back here bright and early. In fact, I saw you, Brian, 04, firing away at the keyboard. I love the standing position, by the way. I guess that's nice and healthy. You were standing up. You weren't at a desk. You were standing at your desk.
You don't do that?
I run around enough, but maybe I should start doing it.
A couple of things. I'm very happy with the office they gave me, right? And your desk go higher. My desk is just a little low, but it's standing. I always choose to stand.
I like that.
I always stand, too, on Fox and Friends. I always grab the standing position.
I think we think a little better when we're standing. I know I do.
Right.
When I was on Capitol Hill yesterday, people kept saying, you want a chair? I was like, no. This is keeping my mind going. Things are going on.
Yeah, so I want to hear for people to see some of the turbulence that took place yesterday. Here is the President of the United States, and he outlined the fact that he goes, we should be for Americans, not illegal immigrants. Stand if you believe it. Cut 4.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
And that was Tlaib and Ilhan Omar taking chances, taking turns just screaming. Your thoughts?
It sounded like British Parliament last night. It used to be you go to the State of the Union, you applaud, you stand up, but you're not heckling the President of the United States. That seems like it's now par for the course now. Probably the most memorable part of the speech. Would you agree, Brian?
For the wrong reasons.
Right.
But he did do a good job in dividing people. Are you for illegal immigrants?
It was
are you for for Americans?
Right, and it wasn't subtle. I mean, he knew the moment was there. He said, essentially, I'm going to ask you to stand up if you believe in fighting for American citizens or illegal immigrants. And we saw the result.
So the president brought up, and he's starting to say, hey, look, I had the immigration issue, but the aggression in Minneapolis, the death of 2 people, had that whole idea flip. Whether Bavino is the right guy, I don't think so. I didn't see the video. I don't know if it exists of him. I don't want people pulled off roofs. I don't want people pulled off the back of landscaping trucks.
Right.
Worst first. Takes like 2
100%.
years. I don't care about the numbers. Just get the worst out. And it's not like some of these people walked across and they're waiting for their hearing date.
Right.
And sometimes 6, 7 years. Try to get that hearing date lower. But I don't need that person hauled out.
No. Not when you have families, not when you're doing important work in the United States, not when you've been here a long time, not when you're in line.
But a lot of Republicans don't want to hear that. They think just get them all out.
Yeah, that gets messy, and I think it could hurt in the midterms. That's not the optics. It's hurting. It's not the optics you want to see. Listen, as I told my son the other day, do you want somebody cutting the line at the movies? If you're standing on line for movies, you don't want somebody cutting the line. But if somebody is already in the theater watching the movie, you pull them out. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but just people who are here working hard, paying taxes, good backgrounds. They're doing the work you want them to be here.
And Lucas, I think after the midterms, if Trump's talking about a legacy, you never could talk about comprehensive immigration reform because the border was never sealed.
Correct.
It's the first time in our lives the border's sealed. So if you could get Democrats to commit to these new asylum rules in exchange for making the Dreamers path to citizenship without criminal violations.
Ronald Reagan said one of his biggest regrets was allowing the 3 million illegal immigrants in the United States a pathway to citizenship because the border wasn't secure.
Because he was told by Democrats that they were going to secure it.
Exactly, and it has never happened. What happened with the Gang of Eight? Remember that special group on Capitol Hill? They never secured the border, and now we have, before Trump, now we had this big problem.
Yeah, Lucas, I'm going to be talking to Mark Dubowitz about the ins and outs of the Iran would-be conflict. But tell us what it looks like. 40,000 of our men and women are already in the region. Mm-hmm. We have the Gerald R. Ford was by Crete yesterday. Do you think it'll be where's the ultimate destination?
Well, the Israelis are saying she's coming to Haifa, their largest port,
Is that
on
where they
Monday.
want him?
That's the Israelis would love that. You can launch strikes from Ford from the Eastern Med. You can refuel over Syria, over the Middle East, over Iraq. What I'm looking at, Brian, is right now there's 3 times as much air power assembled in the Middle East and Europe as there was for Midnight Hammer. There are 100 aerial refueling planes in the region. That's double what we used for Midnight Hammer. I think that's the best comparison. When I hear Iraq War, the thing I don't like about that comparison is, first of all, we had 5 aircraft carrier strike groups for that. We had 150,000 soldiers who invaded Iraq. I don't think that's the best comparison. I think we should be comparing this buildup to Midnight Hammer. It's 3 times as big.
So not many military people think it's a good idea to have a limited strike first. Oh, that's what was talked about.
Once you start shooting, Iran is shooting back. And the problem is you don't want to see ballistic missiles raining down on bases throughout the Middle East. We have a lot of interest in the area, a lot of U.S. troops in the region, from Jordan to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, at Al Dhafra. You do not want to see missiles rain down. We have a lot of air defense that's coming to theater from all over the world. THAAD, Patriot batteries that have been flying in from Fort Hood, Fort Bliss.
But this is expensive stuff.
It's very expensive.
And you said something about the fighter jets.
F-22. So for Midnight Hammer, one of the last pieces on the chessboard with these F-22 Raptors. Those are 5th-generation stealth fighter jets from the Air Force. It's probably Bob Gates' only mistake was capping that number at 187 airframes, because back then it was the war on terrorism, it was Iraq, it was Afghanistan. Why do we need these things? We need them now. The F-22s arrived in the Middle East 4 days before Midnight Hammer. I've been watching them. They were in the UK. The first have already arrived in Israel. So that makes me think we're very close. And something else for our listeners to look for is evacuations. We saw the evacuation from the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. Now, we just heard from Hezbollah said they have no beef with U.S. launches strikes against Israel. They will not attack. Whether they honor that, we'll see.
If the U.S. offers strikes against Israel?
If the U.S. attacks Iran, Hezbollah will not attack Israel.
Couple of things. I had heard reports that the Iranians the IRGC is in Lebanon trying to reorganize Hezbollah.
Oh, there's no question. That's why the Israelis were mowing the grass, so to speak, in Lebanon. They killed a bunch of Hezbollah commanders
because
in recent
Lebanon's
days.
not ready to take over their country yet, right?
And that's why Israel is doing their own prep work for this. They killed about 8 Hezbollah commanders in the last few days.
So for people to understand the bigger picture, if you do want the dynamics in Gaza to get better and Hamas to possibly relent or be destroyed, cut off their source of weapons and money. That's how this is all related.
Cut off the head of the snake. We've heard it before. Now, it's complicated, though. I mean, strikes against Iran, they do shoot back. We had a pair of F-16s that almost got shot down in the 50-day war against the Houthis. Remember in President Trump's early days coming back to the White House? For 50 days, we bombed the Houthis round the clock from the USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier strike group in the Red Sea. Some of our Air Force jets got into it, doing those Wild Weasel missiles, trying to destroy surface-to-air missile sites, radar installations. That was the Houthis. We saw in the 12-day war, the Israeli forces, U.S. forces, did pretty well in Iran. The concern is that does Iran have more to give? Will they feel, if they're threatened, if their regime, it's like cornering somebody in a dark alley.
We saw them kill tens of, maybe
32,000 we heard from President Trump. And if you're the Ayatollah, you're 86 years old, almost 87 in April, he doesn't have much to live. He's happy to be a martyr. The Lebanese military is calling him, the Lebanese media is calling him like Joe Biden. They think he's gone nuts. That's some of the reporting.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
They think the Ayatollah's lost it. So people near him,
it's dangerous.
So they want to die for him.
That's the problem. This is a martyr culture. Remember that 37,000 Iranian kids were killed during the Iran-Iraq War in the 80s. They put them in minefields. They had them jump on Iraqi tanks. And that's the problem. Obviously, we're not talking about the people of Iran, not the students who are protesting, not the tens of thousands protesting in the streets. But when you talk about the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps,
What was it called? Besiege?
Besiege. That's their street thugs. They're part of the IRGC. They are street thugs. They're the ones. It's like a paramilitary force. They're out in the streets killing people. Of course, you've got Shia fundamentalism is not something to take lightly. We've got Shia-backed groups in Iraq, Afghanistan.
Ali Larjani. He's the one that's been looked at to come up with a defense, come up with a strategy, get a hold of this.
He might be someone you'd want to target quickly if you were doing strikes. But remember, none of these are guaranteed that you're going to hit these guys, and they know where to camp out too. It's a big country. Iran is the size of Alaska. It's got a population of about 92 million people. It's enormous, 3 times the size of Iraq.
I love that the Israelis hit that prison. They opened up the door. If you want to actually unleash the opposition, it would be great to open that prison with precision.
And like helping the French resistance World War II, didn't you want to arm the partisans? You give them communications gear. We saw the Starlinks go in, but I would imagine the CIA and others, Mossad, have more complex communications gear. Maybe that's a way to do this from the inside in addition to any potential.
Lucas Tomlinson, last thing, 90 seconds on Ukraine war, 4 years in. That Starlink being redirected back to the Ukrainians, denied of the Russians, I hear is allowing the Ukrainians to make huge gains.
It's important. You got to be able to communicate on the battlefield. It's not just television.
They were basically pirating it?
Yep. And you have to be able to communicate on the battlefield. Boris Johnson, I thought, had a good piece in the Wall Street Journal saying Europe needs to do more. The British Army, if the Europeans want to see Ukraine succeed, I think we all do, maybe it's time to put troops on the ground. Germans can give the Taurus cruise missiles. They can do more. They can give more. If the Germans can build BMWs, Audis, all these nice autos, they can make weapons. And the British Army is a shell of its former self. The British used to have 1,000 warships after World War II. Today they have about 10. And none of their warships can fire land attack missiles like our guided missile destroyers can fire Tomahawks. Their limited frigates and destroyers are only for air defense.
Germans got the message. They're starting to build up the military first time since World War II.
And maybe decades ago we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't want them to rebuild. But now
we need Japan and Germany to rediscover their tough roots.
I agree.
All right. Thanks so much, Lucas.
Brian,
Always
thanks
great.
for having me.
You do an unbelievable job. The military background certainly comes in handy as a reporter and anchor.